Hi guys, on this table we have two of the most sought out HP EliteBook Business Series laptops. The first one is the HP EliteBook 1030G3. This is how it looks like. Let me just try and open it. Yeah, so that's how it looks like. So this is HP EliteBook 1030G3 Core i5. It's a Core i5 laptop. See right there. Got Core i5, 8GB of RAM, 256GB SSD. Then right here we have the HP EliteBook 830G7. So it's a Core i7, as you can see there, Core i7, but it's the 10th gen. It is packed with 16GB of RAM and 256GB SSD. Yeah. So we have these two great business laptops that we want to look at. We want to compare them so that we see the difference in between them. And remember, they're 2 generations apart. But we want to see why is it that they're 2 generations apart, but the price range is almost closer. Yeah. So as usual, let's just first have a look at the prices before we get into the nitty-gritty details or the differences between these two great machines. So first and foremost, for the HP 1030G3, and I just forgot to tell you that the one that I'm having here, it's a touch one. Yeah, it has a touch screen. So as usual, first we have a look at the price. Let me just pardon me a bit. Yeah, so the HP 1030G3 price goes at see right here, that is around $899.9. yeah, in Amazon, a new one. And in Kenya it goes for around, the price range is roughly in between 42,000. You have 42,000, sorry, around 49,000, 60,000. yeah, you see you have 42,000. So the price range is between 42,000 to, let's say, the highest here, you can see the highest is around 60,000. So it depends on the dealer that you're buying it from. And remember, most of these are refurbished ones. Yeah, that's why you have that big price range. But if you were to go for a new one, then you'll have to source for around $899. yeah, that is 1030G3. While on the 840G7, the price range, a brand new one costs around $699. yeah, that's on Amazon, a new one. And in Kenya we have the price ranges from 55,000 to 64,000. Then we have 85,000 for brand new ones in Kenya. So it depends on where you had sourced it. Yeah, that's where the price range are. So as usual, before we continue, before we have a look at the ports, the screen size, and so many aspects in between these two laptops, I just want you to click on the like button. And if you have not subscribed to this account, please do so by subscribing to this account. I really appreciate. And leave a comment. Kindly leave a comment on the next machine that you want us to review. So as usual, let's get back to the business now, the comparison between the two machines. Before we dive into the review of the two of them comparison, we're going to use this as our checklist so that you don't miss on any of them. All these features are so important and so crucial while you're having comparison of these two laptops. So the first one, you're going to have a look at the build quality of these two machines. That's the first thing. So in terms of build quality, just from the looks, you can see the logos are just the same. But on the 830G7 that we have here, we don't have these hinge grips because it's non-touch. But on the market we have a touch version of the 830G7 that is almost similar to the 1030G3 that we have here. So this is 1030G3. So in terms of build quality, we realize that the 1030G3 has a metallic casing on top, the bottom, and even on the keyboard surface. All these parts are metallic, and in fact it has a very firm grip. Yeah, so even while tapping on it, it doesn't easily bend. Yeah, 1030G3. But on the 830G7, the only disadvantage or something that I don't like about it is that the top cover, this top cover is built of, it's a plastic, so it can easily break apart or it can easily get scratched. Yeah, it's not as scratch proof as if you happen to scratch it like this, then you'll have to get some scratches on it, just like you see here. There's some scratches already on it. But the 1030G3, because it's metallic and then it's of matte surface, so the fingerprint doesn't leave marks on it so much, and even it's scratch proof. You can scratch it to something like this and it doesn't get scratched. So in terms of build quality, the 1030G3 is way ahead of this 830G7, even though 830G7 is 2 generations ahead of the 1030G3, which is 8th gen, and this is 10th gen. But the bottom cover is nice because at least metallic, and you can see we have a dent here. This dent was a result of I don't know what happened with the owner of it. Remember, these two machines, I've received them from you, my followers here on YouTube. 2 of you decided to donate these 2 machines so that we can do a review of it for the next people who might think of buying them, or for those who have them already, so that they know how good what they have is. Yeah, so once again, that's how it is. And then all these 2 machines are of the same screen size. They're both 13.3 inch, but you realize that the 1030G3 is so slim. Yeah, see, it's so slim compared to the 30G7. Yes, then at the bottom cover of the 1030G3 we have this very nice or wide ventilation here for inflow of air out inside the machine. Then we have outflow right here. Then we have these rubbers for grip, proper grip on the table, which is so crucial when you're using on the table, so it doesn't slide off the table easily. So the grips are nice, and they're raised to a certain distance. Don't know if you can see it from here. It's raised to a certain distance, so that when it's on the table, there's enough air circulation flow below the machine, so the cooling is okay and the machine won't overheat. Same to the 830G7, we have those rubbers there, so crucial. We have the ventilation ports big enough for intake of air. Then we have outflow of air through ventilation ports right here. They're hidden here on the hinge. Yeah, so that's how it is. Yeah, something that I'm forgetting just before we get to the other features, in terms of the hinges now, both of these machines have very proper hinges, proper grip for the hinges. Remember, this is 360. You can flip it to 360 degrees. The hinge can flip to 360. You can turn it to 2-in-1 laptop. You can use it as a tablet. Yeah, that's why you have this volume knob right here, so that while you're using it to just adjust volume through these knobs. Yeah, then you have the power button on the side right below it here. This is the power button. Don't know, maybe if you can see it, but it's there. And a 30G7, the hinge now, it's on the middle. It's properly built. It's tight. In fact, it's very rare to come across a 30G7 with a broken hinge, because the hinges, they're very okay. The only disadvantage with the 830G7 that I didn't like, it's how the hinge is built, the maximum flexing capability. And the 30G7, the hinge can only flex up to 170 degrees. I don't know how they decided on that, but the only advantage I realized with it is that if it flexes 170 degrees, and maybe let's say you're using it while standing on the table like this, you get a proper angle, viewing angle of what is happening on the screen. Yeah, but now it's disadvantageous, because if somebody happens to flip this machine right like this on the table, you see what happens on this other side. There's that bending here. So I think there's a problem here. They should have just made it maybe to flip up to 180 degrees, just like the other ThinkPad laptops, or just maintain the normal obtuse angle that they usually have. Yeah, so that's one disadvantage that I realized with it. But for the 1030G3, it's okay. Even if somebody happened to flip it on the table, then it just goes straight on the table. You won't have any issues with the hinge. Yeah, so you see, if you flip it like this on the table, then you get a proper view of it. So that's all about the build quality. And number 2, let's just have a look at the second thing, the ports and connectivity. So you can see right here, ports and connectivity of these 2 machines. So in terms of ports and connectivity, let me just put them side by side so that we get a clear look of them. So in terms of port and connectivity, on the right hand side, as usual, you realize things are looking very similar with just small differences. So on the 1030G3 right here, we have HDMI port. Then you have, this is a Kingston lock here, this small hole. It's a Kingston lock for locking your machine to a deck somewhere. Then you have 2 USB 3.1 USB Type-C ports right here. Then you have the volume knob. This is the volume knob. On this side, you have the volume knob right there. So here we have 2 USB-C. This first port is for charging. Yeah, the other port is USB-C. The USB-C Type-C, you can use it for data transfer, you can use it as display port, you can use it as a charging port. So it's a multi-dimensional port that can do so many functions, and it allows for fast charging of the machine. Similar to the 830G7, we have two USB-C ports here. The first port, you can use it for charging. The second port is just strictly for data transfer, video display, and so many things, because it's a Thunderbolt type of port. Then we have this SIM card slot right here. It's an optional one. The first port that I didn't mention, this is the charging port. Yeah, let me just show you something. So you see, this is the Type-C. This is how the Type-C charger looks like. Let me just bring it closer. This is how the Type-C charger looks like. Where will you get it clearly? Yeah, so this is how the Type-C charger looks like. And then the blue pin, normal HP blue pin charger, this is how it looks like. You can see. So this is how it looks like. This is where you get it, right there. And on the left hand side now, in terms of port, you see on the 1030G3 we have USB 3.1 port here, USB. Then on 830G7 we have two USB ports, 3.1 ports here, and an audio jack. Similar to here, we have an audio jack. This is the power button. Then we have a SIM card slot, optional SIM card slot right here. So on the 830G7 you have the Kingston lock, this one on the left hand side, compared to the 1030G3 where we had it on the right hand side. So in terms of port connectivity, you realize that this 830G7 has maximum number of ports, because you have two USB 3.1 ports right there, so crucial. And then you have two USB-C ports right there. But on the 1030G7 you only have 1030G3 sorry, we only have two USB-C ports and a single USB 3.1 port. Yeah, so in terms of port, I think the 830G7 takes it home. So in terms of port, 830G7 wins. 830G7 wins. In terms of ports and connectivity, I go for G7. In terms of build quality, you go for 1030G3. So that is 1-1. They've already tied. So in terms of keyboard and trackpad, let's have a look at the keyboard and trackpad of these two machines. Keyboard and trackpad. I just have to turn this on once again. So in terms of keyboard and trackpad, you can see how the keyboard are. One thing I realized with the keyboard, both of them have backlit capabilities. And to check for backlit capabilities, look for an icon like this. You see on the 830G7, they've changed how the icon looks like. So let me just bring it closer so that you get a proper view. The camera is not as good as it should be. Yeah, so you see how the icon looks. This is for the backlit. And then on the 1030G3 we have the normal backlit icon that looks like this. So if you have a laptop that has that icon, just know that it supports backlit keyboard capabilities. So let me see, have a look at the keys. You can see there's that white backlit. Yeah, the travel distance for the keyboard is very okay, not as in ThinkPad laptop, but it is quite okay. And yeah, you can have a look. The backlight, the travel distance is so good. And while using this keyboard, you won't strain as much because it's so comfortable, not so sticky, not so soft. Yeah, you can feel it while typing. Yeah, the only maybe disadvantage that comes with this laptop, that if you happen to get a refurbished one, then they might come with different keyboard languages that might distract you on your normal usage. So that's the only disadvantage. Like the 1030G3 that I had here, you see I've placed some stickers just here, so as to enable me to use the normal keyboard configuration, like US language or UK language, because it was, see, even the language is different. Control is written in a different language that not, yeah, see, it's written in a very different language. So that's all about the keyboard. Then the trackpad, both these two laptops have similar trackpad. See, they're of glass material. The trackpad is of glass material, just the same as it is on the 1030G3. It's of glass. And one thing about a glass trackpad is that if you're using it, or no matter how long or how many times you use it, it won't get that it won't get worn off. You won't get that surface looking like it's been used so much. Yeah, so that's a main advantage. Let me just show you something here, what I'm talking about. So you see on this Lenovo laptop, you see how the trackpad is. Yeah, because this trackpad is not glass, it's plastic somehow. So if you use it after a very long time, then you see with that space, yeah, it looks worn out. So the advantage with the keyboard of these two laptops is that the trackpad, you have that glass cover, and then it's multi-dimensional, or it support multi gestures. That means that you can use your single finger to do so many stuffs on the screen, single hand, instead of using two hands to click, drag, what. So you can only use your single finger to do so many stuffs. So for example, let's assume the 1030G3 keeps turning off. Okay, so for example, right here, let's assume let's open something like Chrome. And then let's assume you are browsing. Let me just try and browse something, turn it on. Let's try and browse and show you something here so quick. Yeah, so let's Google something like EliteBook. So right there you have something, EliteBook. So you can use just your two fingers to scroll. See, let me just put the cursor there. So you can use the two fingers to scroll on the screen instead of using your two fingers to hold and drag. Yeah, or again you can use your two fingers to zoom. Yeah, see, you can zoom out. Yeah, zoom in. Just use your two fingers to zoom in, see what's happening on the screen. Again, if you happen to have opened some few tabs and you want to get to the tab that maybe you're using previously, just use your three fingers to scroll down. Then you get to see all the tabs that see. Yeah, so that's a very nice advantage. The same situation is with the 1030G3, so there's no big difference in terms of the keyboard. So it's a draw for the keyboard. They both have similar keyboard. So now for the keyboard and trackpad, it's a draw. Yeah, so that's a draw. Now let's have a look at the speakers now. So in terms of the speaker quality, all these laptops come with they have dual stereo speakers. So that means that we have two speakers on this side, two speakers on this side, and you see we have these upward firing or ventilation or grills for the speakers that are just beside the keyboard. That means that while you're using the machines or the laptops for your normal day-to-day usage or multimedia consumption, then you'll get so very nice, crispy and very clear sound coming out through these ventilations here. And they are both supported by Bang & Olufsen. If you've had a laptop that has Bang & Olufsen, then you know how good the sound quality is. Yeah, just the same as the 1030G3, we have the Bang & Olufsen, yeah, that support the speakers. But now for the 1030G3, we have some ventilation for speakers just right there at the bottom. So we have down firing speakers, and we have some that have upward firing. So it's so good in terms of sound quality and dimensional or directional flow of the sound, compared to this 830G7, yeah, that you only have the upward firing grills for the speakers alone. Yeah, so in terms of sound quality, maybe I can just have a test of the sound. Let's use some free sounds there that it test the sound quality. Speakers, just let's get to YouTube. Here YouTube. So let me just search for a free tune non-copyright sound. Non-copyright sound, copyright music. Can hear non-copyright music. Let me just find one non-copyright music right there. We have, yeah, I think this is nice. Copyright and copyright sound. So that you get to listen how clearly.
Nimejaribu mafuta na sabuni nyingi hazikusaidia kurelieve eczema, dryness, or my baby's sensitive skin. Tangu ni
So you can hear how clear the sound quality is.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side.
The sound is evenly distributed on the laptop. You won't realize which side is coming on, either from this side or this side. It's just evenly distributed. Yeah?
And love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah. No, I don't wanna waste what's left.
So that's on the 830G7. Let's have a look at what's happening on the 1030G3. So I managed to repair the drivers on this one, and let's get to hear the sound of the 1030G3 now. So I hope you've listened how quality the sound is from the 1030G3. So that's how the sound quality is.
Staring back at me, stranger in the hall, frozen by the scene, portrait seemed to fail.
It's almost a tie, yeah. So let's assume it's a tie, but I like the sound quality from the 1030G3 more than the 830G7, even though both of them have Bang & Olufsen. So let's say that's a draw. And then in terms of camera and microphone now, this is so crucial now. This is so important because you'll be using these machines for maybe, let's say, work from home, online duties, having those Google meetups. Yeah, so let's test the camera and have a look at the camera quality. So check for the cameras and camera qualities. Yeah, so one thing I would like about both these machines is that both the cameras have that camera shutter. Yeah, see on the 1030G3 we have something that you can slide to close the camera, just the same you can do here. So I'll have to close the camera this side this time first. So the grip is a bit, yeah. So I've just closed the shutters for the cameras, and it's good because you don't have to stick selotapes on these stickers and on these screens to make them look bad. So in terms of camera quality, if you want to confirm the camera or the maximum capabilities of your laptop's camera, just go to the settings on the camera icon. Then, so for example, the 30G7, come to the camera settings here. So the camera settings, come to the photo settings first. Have a look at the photo settings. So the highest quality for photo is 1280 by 720. So that is 720 HD camera quality. Video settings, have a look. You see we have 720 again. Once again 720. Maximum refresh rate is 30 FPS. So that's the maximum camera or video quality that you can shoot using the 30G7. And I'm going to attach a video that I've recorded using the 30G7 just right next after this clip, so that you get to see the difference in terms of the camera quality and the microphone quality. So you see on top here we have two microphones here. This one microphone, then here we have another microphone. So you're going to see the camera quality or the microphone sound quality from this 30G7 in the next video, and then you'll compare. So again here we have the 1030G3 screen now. So this is how the camera quality settings are. So if you come to the camera settings here, you can see the maximum resolution for the camera is 2.1 megapixel. That is 1920 by 1080. That is full HD camera quality from this machine. And video, in terms of video that you can record using this laptop screen, is you can see here we have video quality 1080 16 by 9 by 30 fps, so you can record a video quality to a maximum of 30 fps with the 60 Hz refresh rates. So this is the camera of the 830G7. You see how it looks like. Yeah, I don't know how good the microphone is, because right on top here we have 3 microphones, yeah, just beside the cameras. So I don't know how clear it is, but you'll comment in the comment section the differences between the two. And if I move closer to where there's enough sunlight, you can feel the difference in terms of clarity of the display. Yeah. On the 1030G3, this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like in minimal sunlight. So if I try to get out, you can see we have enough sufficient light. So you can judge from how the camera looks like, and even the sound quality from the video. Yeah. So in terms of camera quality, the 1030G3 beats 830G7. That is like 80 to 20%. Yeah. Just compare the two videos that I've attached here, and then you tell me. But 830G7, 1030G3 camera is way much ahead of the 1030G3 wins on the camera. Next, we have the security features. So in terms of security features, we have things like HP SureView, we have fingerprint right here. So fingerprint, they both have the fingerprint scanner that I like, the one that you just place your finger instead of sliding your finger for the fingerprint sense. You have the fingerprint scanner right here. So that's a tie in terms of fingerprint. We have another security feature on the screen on the camera. We have IR camera on the 1030G7. Similar to the 1030G3, we have IR camera. So that means that you can lock and unlock the laptop using your iris, just iris scanner to unlock the laptop. So another aspect, we have some security features now on the motherboard. We have HP SureView, we have HP Biosphere. Biosphere is a type of security that protects your laptop from any hardware or malware attack. So when the laptop is booting, it creates a boot up, or it gets a backup for the BIOS to load. So in case the BIOS is contaminated, let's say with a virus, is attacked by a virus, then during boot up, it will be able to terminate or to destroy the virus before it infects the whole operating system. So that is something that is both on these two machines. So in terms of security on the BIOS, on the hardware, they're both good, and that's the tie. It's only that the 830G7 that I have here doesn't have HP SureView for the screen protection. Let's assume that you're using these two laptops in a place that is well lit, or a place that you have so many people beside you. On this 1030G3, you can just click on here. Right here you have that's the SureView protection, so that while you're using it like this, let's assume you're using it in a place that is well lit, like right now you can see. If you click here, then you facing the laptop just directly or vertically straight to the laptop, you'll be able to see what's happening, but people on the sides won't be able to see what's happening. Like if I happen to flip it like this, then you see there's no view. Similar to this way, there's no view. So that's something that I think I like about the 1030G3, even though it's an optional feature, so you can find it too in the 830G7 series. So if you're going to purchase one, then if you think you like it, then you can go for it. Something that I was just missing just before we go to the next thing is the screen quality. So in terms of screen quality of both these laptops, they have the same screen capabilities, brightness levels. They're both brightness levels up to 200 nits. That means they're very bright, and if you're using them in outdoor environment that is well lit, I won't get distracted so much with sunlight. Again, they are both full HD screen panels. If you want to see the resolution, just go to the screen, then right click on the screen, come to display settings right here, then display settings right there. You can see we have 1920 by 1080. Yeah, in terms of scaling and refresh rates, just go to advanced display, then you can see here we have a 60 Hz refresh rates, 1080 full HD display. The same thing on the 1030G3. We have similar thing. Let me just go display settings, then can see, yeah, so maximum resolution is 1920 by 1080 full HD, In terms of refresh rates, we have just the same as the other one. Now these are a very good advantage over the 830G7. We have a refresh rate of 120 Hertz. So this panel is also has very good refresh rates compared to the ones on the 830G7. Yeah, you can see we have 120 right here, we have 160, so it's the double the refresh rates. So much has been said. Just to add that the 1030G3 is a touchscreen laptop. It's touchscreen, yeah, and it's convertible. You can see it's touch. You can convert it to a tablet, use it to do your own things, do your own stuff. But we have another similar version of the 30G7 that is touchscreen and can also be flipped to 360 degrees. So it depends on the type that you want. If you're a touch person, if you're an untouched person, then that is it. So in terms of display, because the 830G7 security features, it's a tie, but now in terms of display, 830G7 beats it because it has a 120 Hertz refresh rates screen, while on the 30G7 you only have 60 Hertz. Yeah, so it's a tie for security features, but for the screen 1030G3 wins it. Remember, these two laptops are 2 generations apart. This is 8th gen, this is 10th gen. Yeah, so you might go to buy the 10th gen one thinking that you're getting the latest features, but the 1030G3 still has some classy features despite it being older, 2 years older than these. And remember that the initial parts of this video we did a review of the price range between these two laptops, so you know the price, you know the difference in price, and it's upon you now to decide which one will you go for. So as usual, now let's get to have a look at the internal specs before we finish this review. So for internal specs, first we'll have to turn these two machines off. So that you turn them on, we see the powering on speed. So if you want to turn them off, so first just use Windows X, then double tap on U. So you turn them off. See, that's a shortcut that you can learn from this video, and you'll apply it somewhere very soon. So let's turn them on, and then we see how fast they turn on. So this is not yet off. Let's give it some time. Yeah, so it's off. So we have the power button on the 830G7 on the keyboard. I don't know why they decided to put it there, but I think it's an disadvantage, because if the keyboard has an issue, then the power button will definitely be affected compared to the 1030G3, where the power button is at the sides. So if the keyboard has an issue, if you happen to replace the keyboard, you won't have issue with the power button. Yes. So let's turn them on, and then we have a count. So go 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 seconds, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 seconds. So it took 27 seconds to turn on a 30G7 and only 19 seconds to turn on a 30G3. Remember, the 1030G3 that we have here has 8 GB of RAM and 256 GB SSD, while the 830G7 has 16 GB of RAM and 512 GB SSD. So let's have a look at the internal specs. As usual, if you want to check on the internal specs, you just click Control Shift Escape. Yeah, so you see the text manager will open, then you come to the performance tab so that you get to see all the aspects. Let me just do the same on the 1030G3, sorry. Yeah, so you come to the task manager. So 830G7 first, CPU. So the one that I have here, it's a Core i7. You can see Core i7 10th gen with a base speed of 2.3 gigahertz. So you have 4 cores and 8 logical processors. So it's a quad core machine. The memory is 16 GB of RAM. You can see we have the number of slots used, 1 out of 2 slots. So it means we have one slot that is empty, the other slot has 16 GB of RAM, and it can support up to a maximum of 64 GB of RAM because it's expandable. The type of RAM that it's sodium, it means the RAM can be removed and replaced with another one. SSD, we have a 512 SSD and NVMe of 512. That is so fast, should be so fast. I don't know why it took so long to power on. Yeah, you can see it's 512 right there. Type is SSD right here. Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi 6 and with Bluetooth 5.0. GPU, we have integrated, not dedicated, but integrated GPU. Integrated means that the GPU is attached to the processor. So it's of 8 GB of RAM. You can see right there, it's 8 GB of RAM. Intel Ultra HD graphics. Yeah. So 1030G3, right there we have CPU of see, it's Core i5 8th gen with a base speed of 1.9. We have 4 cores, 8 logical processors, so it's also quad core. Memory, 8 GB of RAM, yeah, but the type of RAM is raw of chip, so it means it's soldered on the motherboard. It's not sodium like the other one. So disk, we have 256 GB SSD, yeah, see, type is SSD M2. Then Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi 6, just as in 1030G7. Then graphic card, we have Intel Ultra HD 620. So Intel Ultra HD 620 dedicated integrated graphic card and Ultra HD graphics, there's no big difference. Yeah, they're almost the same. And these two laptops can perform programming perfectly. You can do video editing with them. Not so professional video editing, but so many video editing they can support, because they have 4 processors, quad core processors for quick rendering speeds, and even high efficiency in color or filtering out the colors, because they have good displays. So you can use these laptops for video editing, handling softwares like AutoCADs. You can use them for multimedia, entertainment, because they have good speakers, and so many more things other than being business machines, because the engines are just as perfect as you'll want for a machine, considering the prices, they're not so much high. Yeah. So what I've realized that even though the 830G7 that I have here has Core i7 processor, 16 GB of RAM, but on things being normal, the 1030G3 is also equally capable, because it has the same number of cores as the 830G7, despite being 2 generations below it. Now the only disadvantage of 1030G3 is that it has 8 GB of RAM, and the RAM is soldered on the motherboard. So in terms of internal specs, the 830G7 wins it, because we have an expandable RAM slot on these compared to the other one. So 830G7 wins. 830G7 wins here in terms of for the internal specs, though fastness, boot up speed, 1030G3 won it. You saw. Finally, battery life. So on the battery life, this is something that I'm not going to talk about it completely here all, because I'll show you in the next session, whereby I've opened the back cover. You see what's underneath these machines, what's inside the motherboard, the size of the battery, you'll get to see it there. One thing that I love about these two machines is that they have both of them support fast charging capabilities. Fast charging, it means that you can charge these machines from charge of 0% to 50% within 30 minutes to get 50% charge on these two laptops. So they support fast charging, and to charge them to full abilities, you only need to charge them for around 1 hour 20 minutes to get them to full charge. So that is something I think is very good, considering right now that we most of the time use these machines on field where we don't have charging ports. So if you can charge it within 30 minutes to 50%, and the 50% can last you for 5 hours or even half a day, so why not? And in terms of battery lifespan, the 1030G3 wins it, because it has a longer battery lifespan. Under normal usage, it can take you a whole day, that is 24 hours, while the 1030G7 under normal uses, because it has a small battery, can only take you like half a day. So the battery is half, or it's like almost half the lifespan of the 1030G3. So in terms of battery and everything, battery and charging, I'll go for 1030 because battery life is so crucial. So 1030 wins it, even though 830G7 supports both Type-C and the blue pin charger for HP. So charging by design, charging by design 830G7 wins it, but in terms of battery life, 1030G3 wins it. So you have to choose, either you want something that has different charging abilities, you won't be stuck if you don't have Type-C, or you want something that has longer battery lifespan. It's upon you to decide. So from all these comparisons, you realize that 1030G3 won in almost, out of these 8 comparisons, 1030G3 won in 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 1030G3 won 4 of them. Then we have a draw in terms of speaker quality, sound quality. It was a draw. So 1, it's a draw. Then the remaining 3, 830G7 took home. Yeah, actually had 2 draws, so it's only in terms of trackpad it was a draw. So draw trackpad, 830G7 only won. That means 830G7 only won one thing. Yeah, and what was that in terms of internal specs right there? And ports, no, it was 2. So it was 2. Okay, so we had 2 draws. Sorry, we had 2 draws. I'm just confusing. We had 2 draws, and then out of the 2 draws, so 1030G3 won 4 of them. That is in terms of build quality, 1030G3 is good. Camera and mic, 1030G3 is good. 1030G3 is right here. Battery charging, battery life, 1030G3 won. It's okay. Screen and security features, 1030G3 still won it. And in terms of ports and connectivity, 1030G7 won because it has so many ports and they are diverse. Then in terms of internal specs, 1030G7 also won because it has an expandable RAM module compared to the 1030G3. So up to that point, I hope this review has been so crucial and has been so helpful to you, and it will help you make a decision between these 2 laptops if you happen to watch this video and you're going to purchase it. And so much has been said. It's only upon you now to kindly leave a like and subscribe to this account for more detailed review, and add in the comment section something that you'd like me to improve on, maybe on the time of the review, or just add your comments. I really appreciate the feedback, either it being negative or positive. I all appreciate all of them because we have to improve definitely on the next one. So let's get to the next part where I get to open the back covers of these 2 machines. So guys, we are about to get more technical here because we have to open the undercover of these machines so that we get to see what lies on the inside. Yeah, how the motherboard looks like, how the fan looks like. So many things are happening inside here. We want to see what makes them so expensive. So in order to open these 2 laptops, it's unfortunate that they're using different types of screws. So for the 830G7, we're going to use the normal star-shaped screwdriver. As you can see, this is how it looks like. But on the 1030G3, we're going to have to use this Allen key. So this is how it looks like. See? So if you have 1030G3, then you have to prepare that with an Allen key sort of screwdriver. And remember, at times it's usually important to open them because you might need to service them, especially the fans. Most of the time while you're using them, dust usually accumulates on the fan, therefore making them to overheat so much and even underperform. So as you see on the bottom cover, for the 1030G3 we have 5 screwdrivers. We have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to open the back cover. That's the same scenario with the 830G7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that's good enough, and that makes them easier to open up. Fortunately enough, I've already opened the screws, so it's just to open the lids, and I'm going to show you how to open the lids because you have to have a scalpel like this so that you don't destroy the edges where the clips make in. So to open the back cover, for example the 1030G3, just use a sharp scalpel like this, then you press it at the edges like that, and you just be gentle with it. Don't force things, because if you force things you might end up destroying the machine, yet you are not a technician. Yeah, so that's how you open the back cover. Just be patient with it. Yeah, and that's how easy it is to open the 1030G3. I know you're anxious to see what's on the inside, and there you go. Yeah, see, so we have some magnetic clips here. I think those are the ones that press on the trackpad below. See on the cover, these are magnetic clips. See, some of you know the function of this. Maybe you can explain to us, because we are just getting so technical right here. And now it's time to show you the speakers of 1030G3. And just before I show you everything, let's open the 830G7 so that at least we can have a side-by-side check. So As usual, just use the clips. Start with the upper part, be gentle with it. Same side, just be gentle. There you go. So it doesn't have the magnetic parts, so there it is. Yeah, so as you can see, this is 1030G3, 830G7. You've noticed there's a very big difference in terms of how things are arranged inside here. First things first, the fan. On the 1030G3, you can see we have two fans. Yeah, this is the processor in the middle, and then we have two fans, right and left. So as a technician or as somebody has used these machines for a very long time, I know having a machine that have dual fans like this is so efficient for cooling and everything, so it doesn't overheat as much, and if you're using it on heavy tasks, it doesn't get so noisy. Yeah, because at least the cooling is just as efficient as you'll want for your laptop to be. That's why it has two fans, and that's much better compared to the 830G7, whereby you have the processor here and only a single fan. You see the heatsink, so you only have a single fan here, though it's bigger than these two, but it won't be as sufficient as these two fans right here. So that's one difference. Another thing is that you can see from the battery size, on the 830G7 we have very small battery. The motherboard has eaten almost 3/4 of the board, but on the 1030G3 you can see we have the battery and the motherboard are sharing almost the same size. So you can see the battery on the 830G3, 1030G3 is much bigger than on the one on the 830G7. So in terms of battery capacity, let me just have a look at it somewhere here. It's supposed to be around here. Yeah, you see, so the battery capacity of the 1030G3 is 56.2 watts per hour. Yeah, while on the 830G7 is supposed to be somewhere here. Supposed to be somewhere. Shouldn't be so hidden. Yeah. Yeah, so you see, this one is 44 watts per hour. So we have the battery difference of so this is 56, this is 44. That's around 12. Yeah, so it means that if you have 1030G3, then you have a longer lifespan operating hours. Normally for these two laptops, if you're using them under let's say on heavy workload, just normal working or heavy not normal but heavy working conditions, you expect the batteries to go for like 4 hours maximum. But if you're just using them for slight things like surfing and just doing light duties, then you expect 1030G3 battery to take you for a whole day, while on the 30G7 it can take you for like if at maximum let's say 7 hours. So that's another weak point of the 30G7. So even though it's much newer generation compared to the 1030G3. Yeah. Then another thing you'll notice concerning the RAM, you see on the 1030G3 we don't have a physical RAM. Yeah, the RAM are soldered on the motherboard. Remember when we were looking at the specs? Yeah, so the RAM was soldered on the motherboard, therefore you can't expand it. So if you get one with 8GB of RAM, then that is it. If you get one 16GB of RAM, then that is it. While on the 30G7 now you have that advantage of expanding the RAM, because you saw on the inside we had a 16GB of RAM, and that is this. We have a 16GB of RAM chip, single chip here, so you can add another 16GB RAM here to make it 32GB, or you can add 32GB single chip, then another 32 to make it 64GB of RAM. So in terms of expansibility, 30G7 is much better, or will give you an added advantage over the 1030G3. Another thing maybe that I might forget here, you see here we have this slot. Yeah, this is how it looks like. M2. Yeah, this is how it looks like. So it's a micron. And then on the 30G7 we have an NVMe here. It's here. Yeah, so think in terms of that they're the same. Then another difference here, you can see that we have a Wi-Fi card or Wi-Fi or network card here. Wi-Fi or network card on the 1030G3. On the 830G7, that it's removable. Yeah, while on the 1030G3 it's not removable. Yeah, it's around here. This is it, so you can't change it. So much. Just finally to show you where the speakers are. So you can see on the 830G7 you have the speakers here. They are dual speakers. Dual means you have two speakers. I don't know if I can get this speaker out. Maybe I don't think it will come out because it has some screwdrivers, some screws. Yes, you can have a look at this one on the other side. It's telling you that, yeah. So you see, we have these, and then there's one that has penetrated this side. So there are two speakers like this side, and then you have two here on the other side. The same scenario with this, we have a speaker here, then we have a speaker that's protruding here, we have a speaker here and a speaker here. Yeah. I hope you've seen so much on the interior up to this point. I'm not going to get so technical enough because I don't want to confuse you again. Otherwise, if you've watched this video up to this point, please, thank you for sticking around, and thank you for subscribing, hitting on the subscribe button. Thank you for liking the video, and also thank you for sharing the video. Let's meet on the other one. Give your suggestions on which laptop that you want me to have a review of in the comment section. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.